Have you ever met someone who seems unstoppable, yet somehow fragile? Someone who charges into life head first, but hides their deepest feelings behind a confident smile? Here's a truth most people don't realize. Aries, the boldest sign of the zodiac, is not just about bravery, passion, or fiery energy. There's so much more hiding beneath the surface, and today, we're going to uncover it. What if I told you that Aries' fearless nature is actually their way of healing from silent battles you'll never see? What if their constant movement is not just restlessness, but their way of calming a storm inside? In this video, we'll explore 18 hidden secrets about Aries that explain why they act the way they do, why they love the way they love, and why their hearts are more complex than anyone believes. From their magnetic leadership to their fear of emotional vulnerability, every discovery in this video will reveal a new side of Aries. Whether you're an Aries yourself or someone who loves one, this journey will help you understand them like never before. So, are you ready to explore the mind and soul of the zodiac's warrior? If you're curious, don't forget to hit subscribe, give this video a like, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Let's dive deep into the secret world of Aries together. Have you ever felt like life forced you to change again and again? Like no matter how much you grow, something inside pushes you to become even stronger, even better. That's not a flaw, it's a hidden power. And if you're an Aries, or if you know someone who is, you've seen this. Aries people carry the energy of constant self-renewal. But not many understand what that really means. It's not just about bouncing back from failures. It's about using pain, using setbacks, as fuel to reinvent yourself over and over. Every time life tries to knock an Aries down, they respond in the most powerful way possible. They evolve. Think about it. Maybe you've seen an Aries lose everything, a job, a relationship, a dream they held for years, and yet, weeks later, they're moving forward, starting over, reinventing who they are. That's not resilience. That's transformation. And that's why Aries seem unstoppable. They're not afraid to let go of who they were yesterday, because deep down, they trust who they're becoming tomorrow. But here's the twist. This strength comes with a silent need. A need few people notice. Aries, behind all their bravery, crave emotional validation. Not the kind of validation that comes from praise or attention. No, what they truly want is to be seen, to be understood, to have someone recognize the battles they fight silently every day. You might see an Aries laugh things off, brush past obstacles, or even make light of their struggles. But don't let that fool you. Underneath, they're carrying emotions that they rarely share. They've trained themselves to protect that vulnerability. Because in their world, showing weakness feels like surrendering. But what they really need is someone who quietly reminds them, I see you. I see what you're carrying, and you don't have to carry it alone. If you love an Aries, remember this. Your silent presence, your gentle support, means more to them than any loud praise ever could. Now, imagine this. An Aries who's constantly moving, always chasing something new, always running from one goal to the next. It's easy to think they're restless just because they're driven. But in truth, their constant movement is their therapy. It's their way of calming their mind. Activity isn't just a choice, it's a need. When they slow down, the emotions they've hidden catch up to them. That's why they seek motion. Physical action helps them regulate what's happening inside. Ever noticed how an Aries seems calmer after a workout, or after throwing themselves into a project? It's not a coincidence. Movement heals them. It's how they make sense of the chaos inside. So if you're an Aries, give yourself that gift. Keep moving, not because you're running away, but because that's how you find your peace. But perhaps the most misunderstood part of Aries is this: their search for connection. You see, Aries people are often seen as lone wolves, independent, self-reliant, brave enough to stand alone. And yes, that's true, but only partly. Deep inside, Aries are searching for something more rare. They're searching for a person, someone who gives them peace. someone in whose presence they can finally stop running. You'll know you've found this person when, for the first time, your restless Aries seems calm, still, content. Not because they've lost their energy, but because they've found a safe harbor. That's the hidden dream every Aries holds close. They're not looking for someone who matches their fire. They're looking for someone who balances it. And when they find that person, something magical happens. The constant noise quiets, the restless heart finds rhythm, and the warrior finds rest. If you're that person for an Aries, cherish that gift. And if you're an Aries listening now, know this: your need for connection doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Let yourself rest, not when you're tired, but when you're safe. Because true strength isn't always about fighting. Sometimes it's about allowing yourself to be held. So, the next time you see an Aries, remember, behind their bravery is a story of self-renewal, of silent battles, of healing through movement, and of a quiet search for a home. Not in a place, but in a person. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to thrive on action, as if sitting still would drive them crazy? With Aries, this isn't just a personality quirk, it's a deep psychological need. Their physical energy is more than strength, it's survival. When Aries feel trapped, when life closes in on them, their first instinct isn't to hide, it's to move. Movement is their medicine, their way to process the emotions they can't put into words. If you've ever watched an Aries pacing a room when they're upset, or throwing themselves into a new project after a setback, you've seen this in action. They're not avoiding their emotions, they're processing them in motion. But that physical drive also tells us something deeper. It shows us their determination to stay in control. Because when Aries stop moving, when they're forced into stillness, their thoughts get louder, their doubts creep in. And that's when they feel most vulnerable. So if you're an Aries, don't judge yourself for needing action. See it as your natural way of healing. And if you're close to an Aries, understand that their need to stay busy isn't about running from you, it's about protecting themselves. Now, think about their loyalty. Aries are fiercely loyal to the people they care about. But have you ever asked why? What's hiding beneath that loyalty? It's not just devotion, it's identity. For Aries, relationships aren't just part of their life. They're part of who they are. When they protect you, stand up for you, fight for you, it's not just about you, it's about them too. Their loyalty is a way of anchoring themselves in a world that often feels unstable. The more unpredictable life gets, the more they cling to the people who make them feel safe. But there's something many people misunderstand. That loyalty can look possessive. Sometimes, Aries might seem controlling or overly protective, but what you're seeing is fear. The fear of losing a bond that holds them together. If you love an Aries, know that when they're guarding you fiercely, it's because your connection is their safe space. They're not trying to own you. They're trying to hold on to the piece of themselves they found in you. Be patient, communicate. Reassure them that love doesn't mean needing constant proof. And if you're an Aries listening, trust this. Real love stays even when you loosen your grip. But there's a side of Aries many never get to see. A side that can be mistaken for selfishness or coldness. When an Aries sets a goal, their focus sharpens like a blade. They lock in, cut out the noise, and sometimes even cut out the people around them. Friends might say, "Why are they ignoring me?" Loved ones might feel pushed aside, but here's the truth. This isn't lack of care, it's survival instinct. Aries need to block out distractions because, deep down, they fear losing control of their own path. Their intense self-focus is how they fight off the chaos. It's how they reach their goals. And yes, it can look cold. But if you're close to an Aries, remember this. When they withdraw, it doesn't mean you're unimportant. It means their inner world is demanding their full attention. Respect their space. And when they come back to you, welcome them without judgment. And to every Aries listening, don't feel guilty for needing that focus. But remember too, that your success will feel hollow if you stand alone at the finish line. Let the people who love you walk beside you, even when your mind is locked on the goal. Then there's their commitment. When Aries decides to commit, whether to a person, a passion, or a dream, they don't hold back. They dive in. All or nothing. You've probably seen this if you know an Aries. Maybe it's the friend who works through the night, chasing a project no one else believed in, or the partner who loves so intensely, it feels like you're their whole world. Aries don't love halfway. They don't pursue halfway. Their commitment is total. But here's what most people miss. That intense commitment often comes from something fragile, a fear of stagnation. Aries are terrified of standing still, of waking up one day and realizing they've wasted their potential. That's why they pour everything they have into what they care about. It's not just passion, it's a refusal to settle, a silent promise to themselves, I will not waste my life. But that can come at a cost: burnout, emotional exhaustion, isolation. So if you're an Aries, hear this: your commitment is beautiful. But remember to pause sometimes, to breathe. You don't have to prove your worth by exhausting yourself. And if you love an Aries, support their passion. But remind them gently, rest isn't failure, it's fuel. Each of these truths brings us deeper into the Aries psyche, a soul that craves movement, loyalty, focus, and passion, not for show, but as a way to hold itself together. And yet, the most surprising truths are still ahead, because the final 3 secrets of Aries reveal what few people ever see: their deepest fears, their hidden needs, and perhaps their greatest emotional contradictions. Stay with me, because what comes next may change everything you thought you knew about Aries. Have you ever noticed how Aries people pay attention to small things others often ignore? It's surprising, isn't it? We usually think of them as bold, fiery, fast-moving. But when it comes to people they care about, Aries notice the little things. That's how they show love. They remember your favorite meal. They text you when you least expect it. They notice when your voice sounds different. This attention to detail isn't random. It's their way of building trust. You see, Aries carry a secret fear: losing the people who matter to them. And small gestures help them feel safe. These little acts are like bricks in a wall they build to protect fragile connections. Because for Aries, love isn't grand words. It's proof, shown in actions, not promises. So if you know an Aries, pay attention to those tiny, quiet ways they care. That's where their heart speaks loudest. And now, let's talk about something that might surprise you. Aries are intelligent, sharp, quick thinkers. But when it comes to love, they can feel lost, strange, right? In business, in problem solving, they move fast, confident. But in relationships, Aries can hesitate, not because they're cold, but because they've been hurt before. Love isn't simple for them. It's confusing, intense, messy. Their natural impulsiveness makes them rush in, but their past wounds make them cautious at the same time. Imagine a warrior who's fearless in battle, yet unsure when it comes to trusting someone with their heart. That's Aries. Their brain tells them to protect themselves, but their heart craves connection. This inner conflict can leave them unsure how to love, even though they want to love deeply. If you're with an Aries, be patient. Understand that their silence doesn't mean disinterest. It means they're trying to figure out how to keep you, without losing themselves. And when life challenges them, Aries show something incredible: fearlessness, pure, raw, courage. While others hesitate, Aries step forward. It's not because they don't feel fear, they do, but they push through it. For Aries, obstacles are not walls, they're tests. They see every challenge as a way to prove their strength, not just to the world, but to themselves. Think of someone you know who never gives up. That person who keeps going, even when everything falls apart. That's Aries energy. But here's something most don't realize. That fearlessness isn't always about bravery. Sometimes, it's their way of coping with inner fear. Moving forward is how they escape the doubts inside. It's how they prove to themselves they're not weak. If you're an Aries, let me remind you, being brave doesn't mean ignoring your fears. It means walking forward despite them. Your courage isn't just inspiring, it's healing. And if you're close to an Aries, celebrate their bravery. But also remind them, they don't have to fight every battle alone. Then comes their leadership. Aries people have a dominant presence. They walk into a room and energy shifts. Not because they demand attention, but because their confidence is magnetic. Decisions come naturally to them. They don't second guess. They don't overthink. Their instincts guide them. But that strong nature hides something few notice. Their decisiveness is their way of silencing the chaos inside. When they act boldly, when they lead others, it's often to control their own uncertainties, to take charge of their life before their doubts can take charge of them. Think of that Aries friend who always volunteers to lead the group, or who makes a tough choice when everyone else freezes. It's not just confidence, it's self-protection. Leadership gives them a sense of control, and that makes them feel safe. So, if you're following an Aries leader, remember this. Beneath their strength is a soul that's calming its own storm. Trust their guidance, but offer them quiet support too. And to every Aries listening, know that it's okay to admit when you're uncertain. Your strength isn't just in leading others, it's in allowing yourself to be vulnerable sometimes too. As we've seen, Aries people aren't just bold and brave, they're complex. Their small gestures carry big emotions. Their hesitation in love hides deep desire. Their courage masks hidden fears. Their leadership soothes their inner doubts. And yet, the most emotional, the most surprising truths about Aries are still waiting. Because in the final 3 secrets, we'll uncover what drives their most intense reactions, what makes them guard their hearts, and why their deepest need might just be something they rarely admit. Stay with me. What comes next may reveal a side of Aries you've never seen before. Have you ever watched someone who just can't sit still? Always planning the next move, chasing the next goal, running towards something new. That's Aries. But it's not because they're impatient. It's because they're restless inside. Their mind never stops. Their heart never quiets. It's as if life itself is pulling them forward every second. And yet, something strange happens when they meet the right person. When they finally feel understood, suddenly, that constant racing slows down. The person who never stayed still for anyone finally stops running. With the right soul beside them, Aries discovers a feeling they almost forgot existed: peace. It's like finding shelter after years in a storm, and for Aries, that feeling is rare. Maybe you've seen this. Maybe you're the one who makes your Aries feel safe enough to rest. If you are, treasure that gift. Because to give peace to a restless soul is a kind of magic. Now, let's talk about something most people never notice. Aries hide their disappointment better than anyone. When life lets them down, when people hurt them, they rarely show it. On the outside, they look strong, they laugh, they keep moving. But inside, they're carrying wounds no one can see. Why? Because for Aries, showing disappointment feels like failure. It feels like weakness. They've trained themselves to keep walking, even when their heart is heavy. They'd rather pretend they're fine than admit they're hurt. But the truth is, even the strongest hearts break, and Aries hearts break more often than they let on. So, if you're close to an Aries, remember this: when they finally share their pain, listen. Don't try to fix it. Just be there. Your quiet presence matters more than your advice. And if you're an Aries listening now, let yourself feel. Let yourself cry when you need to. Hiding your hurt doesn't heal it. Sometimes, your real strength is admitting when you're broken. And then there's the side of Aries that most people love, but few truly understand. Their passion, their sensuality. When Aries loves, it's not gentle, it's consuming. They give everything. In moments of intimacy, Aries are fully present. Every touch, Every word, every glance, they pour their whole heart into the experience. But why? Because physical connection is how Aries expresses what they struggle to say. Words often fail them, emotions overwhelm them, but in intimacy, their feelings become real. Their passion becomes their language, and their partner feels it. Aries doesn't love halfway. They don't hold back. Every moment is intense, raw, and honest. But that depth of passion comes from a deeper need. Aries craves connection, real, honest, soul-deep connection. In intimacy, they're not just sharing their body, they're sharing their vulnerability. So, if you're loved by an Aries, don't mistake their passion for something superficial. It's their way of saying, "This is who I am. This is where I trust you most." But passion isn't the only emotion Aries struggles to control. There's something else, something people close to them know well: their temper. Aries can go from calm to angry in seconds. One wrong word, one broken promise, and the fire inside them erupts. It's intense, sometimes overwhelming. And to those around them, it can feel sudden, too much. But what's hiding behind that anger? Why does it flare up so fast? The answer is simpler than you think. Anger is how Aries protects themselves when they feel disrespected, when they feel unheard. Their first instinct is to fight, not because they want to hurt you, but because they don't know how else to defend their worth. Anger becomes their shield, their voice, their way of saying, "I matter, my feelings matter." But once the storm passes, they don't hold on to it. They don't carry grudges. Aries burns bright, then lets it go. So, if you're close to an Aries, understand this. Their anger isn't rejection, it's vulnerability. And if you can see through the fire, you'll find a heart that's just asking to be respected. All these hidden sides of Aries, their restless heart, their hidden pain, their passionate love, their quick temper, they paint a picture of someone both powerful and fragile, a warrior on the outside, a seeker on the inside. And yet, the journey isn't over, because the final 3 truths about Aries reveal their deepest battles, their greatest needs, and the contradictions that make them so uniquely human. Stay with me. What comes next might change everything you thought you knew about them, and maybe even about yourself. There's something about Aries that people often misunderstand. Their aggression, their need for respect. You see it when their voice sharpens, when their energy shifts. It can feel sudden, harsh, maybe even too much. But what few people realize is that underneath that reaction is something incredibly simple. Aries needs to be respected, not praised, not admired, respected. When someone dismisses their feelings, doubts their loyalty, or crosses a boundary, it cuts deep. And their instinct? To defend their worth, to protect their pride. Aggression, for Aries, is never about seeking conflict. It's about demanding dignity, standing up not just for themselves, but for what they believe in. Maybe you've seen an Aries push back hard against unfairness. Maybe you've been on the receiving end of their fiery defense. If so, remember this: their reaction isn't about overpowering you. It's about protecting their inner self, the part that's tired of being hurt, the part that refuses to be ignored. But beyond that fire lies something softer, something people rarely see. Aries doesn't live in the past. They don't get lost in what's ahead. They live here, now, in this moment, and that's what makes their passion so unforgettable. When they're with you, they're fully present. Whether in love, in conversation, or even in silence, Aries gives you everything. Their focus, their energy, their heart. They're not thinking about tomorrow. They're not dwelling on yesterday. They're right here, feeling everything with full intensity. This can be overwhelming for them and for those around them, but it's also a gift. Aries shows us what it means to live fully, to love without hesitation, to feel deeply, even when it hurts. And that's the secret most people never understand about Aries. Their passion isn't about drama, it's about presence. In every touch, in every word, in every choice they make. Aries reminds us that life is happening now, and that now is all that matters. So if you're loved by an Aries, cherish those moments. They won't give you promises about the distant future, but they'll give you something far more valuable: the intensity of now, the honesty of real connection, the magic of someone who's truly, deeply there. And if you're an Aries listening, don't apologize for this. Your presence is your power. Your ability to make every moment feel alive is your gift. Let yourself embrace it, let yourself share it, and trust that the right people will stay. Because being Aries isn't just about leading or fighting. It's about feeling, it's about connecting, it's about living each moment so fully that others can't help but feel alive just standing beside you. Maybe now you see Aries differently. Maybe you see yourself differently. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real secret of Aries. If you felt connected to what we shared today, don't forget to subscribe, especially if you saw a part of yourself or someone you love in these words. Give this video a like, share it with a friend who needs to hear this. And remember, this is just one part of the journey. There are so many deeper truths waiting in the next videos. Stories of the other zodiac signs, hidden parts of human nature we rarely talk about, and lessons that might just change how you see your own heart. So, stay curious, stay open, and I'll see you in the next video.